If you go to Minecraft's official website, minecraft.net, and try to learn about the differences between Bedrock and Java, they'll give you this list. There's only one problem with it, and it's that it's horribly biased. I play mostly Bedrock, but even I wouldn't argue there's 15 reasons to play Bedrock, while only 2 to play Java. Indeed, I think that Minecraft clearly has an incentive about one of these editions over the other, which is weird because you cannot buy one without also getting a copy of the other. So with that said, today I want to go into exactly what's wrong with this list, but I also want to help Mojang out by letting them know what they missed, and then I want to give the ultimate breakdown of why you should play Java or Bedrock and the actual differences between the 2 copies of the game. And I think we should start with the problems of this list, because literally the very first line has one, but also all of these are quite flawed in their own way. So let's start by talking about the first one. Minecraft references that there is split screen not available for Java or Bedrock, which makes it a very weird inclusion as the first line of a comparison. There is no difference between Java and Bedrock according to this, except that's actually different in reality. Split screen can be available for Minecraft Bedrock, it just depends on the platform you're playing on, and so I think the only way you could argue this is an X is if you're specifically comparing the PC copies of the game, and that actually is a logical thing for this list to do. Obviously, Minecraft Bedrock is available in all sorts of places, and Minecraft Java is available in a few too. The only places where they actually overlap though is the PC. Every other platform, you're either playing Bedrock because you have an Xbox One, or you're playing Java because you have a Mac, and therefore there's no choice. And so if that's the case, why did they have this little line here about an online multiplayer subscription being required? Because that is something that is just not required when you're playing on a Windows PC, regardless of whether it is the Bedrock or Java editions. Which kind of proves the point about how silly online multiplayer subscriptions are for consoles, but we'll leave that point to the side to instead jump to the last item on this list, which confirms they are comparing the PC versions, because the last item is ray tracing. Ray tracing looks beautiful, it's incredible, and might be a reason you want to play Minecraft, but it's only available on the Windows version of Minecraft Bedrock, so include a tick there means that they are talking just about this one version, and so the online multiplayer subscription is a very weird thing to bring up, but also bringing up ray tracing as a whole is because this hasn't been updated in years. The last update, I believe, was 1.16.200, and since this is a kind of dropped feature, it's one that has support, but is being replaced by something else Minecraft is making, it feels very weird to include this as one of the few items on this list, given the things that they are missing, but we'll come back to those later, because for now, also on this very short list, they decided to include the Minecraft Marketplace as item number 3, the Marketplace Pass as item number 4. If you've never heard of it, it's just a subscription to the above feature, and then downloadable content, which is the thing that you would buy on the Minecraft Marketplace or get in the Marketplace Pass, and then even more confusingly, it might take you a while to notice it, but all the way down here is Realms Plus, which is just a Realm subscription bundled in with the Marketplace Pass, and honestly, at that point, it starts to get really, really ridiculous. Why is there 4 separate items on this that basically describe the same 2 features, or if we're being totally honest, the same 1 feature, because Minecraft has the ability to pay for maps, texture packs, and skins on the Bedrock version. There is no similar feature on the Java edition of the game, it's true, but you can just download maps from outside of the game, and so in general, most people, if you're playing the PC versions of the game, will have no issues downloading content, whether it's inside the game or out, and so Minecraft including this is obviously something they want to do, but then including it as a tick, implying that Bedrock is better because it has it, is already another layer of bias, but then the layer of bias of including it 4 separate times to drive home the point that, yeah, this is something you really, really want, is just an additional odd thing, in my opinion. And in case you think that is where the oddness goes, I think we should also note down the fact that they include mods on here as the only tick that Java has that Bedrock doesn't. This is true. If you want to download a traditional mod, you'll almost certainly want the Java version of the game, but this isn't officially supported. You'll need to download a mod launcher. These are made by third parties, and Mojang did say years ago that they would introduce a modding API and make modding easier, but they have yet to do so. In fact, they sort of do the opposite, because to mod the game, you need to know how the game works so you can modify it, but they deliberately obfuscate the code to make it hard to go through. Then they provide this obfuscation mapping to people, so there is a debate that they make it easier in some ways, but Minecraft barely supports modding, so to include it as a tick on this list, alongside something which they do very much support, like Realms, is very, very weird, and seems like it's just here to argue, yeah, we're being neutral because we can recognize the Java edition does have benefits over Bedrock, it's just literally one thing, and it's something we don't really support, so if you want to do that, you can go ahead and get it. But even then, I think, even though you wouldn't call it mods, Bedrock does have access to add-ons. In fact, they even will sell you add-ons via the marketplace, something I'm surprised they didn't list as a separate item here, but Minecraft Bedrock does have add-ons, and this will achieve a fair few of the things which you're actually looking to do with mods. One of those things being the ray tracing, which is kind of like shaders, but also you can get add-ons which will allow you to do all sorts of things from grappling to new types of ores, armors, and honestly, that is something that is worth mentioning. If you think that mods are so important, they're worth mentioning, unless this list is just meant to be a big list of buzzwords, which might explain why they describe officially featured Minecraft servers as being a plus. This is a good thing on the console versions of Bedrock where you can't connect to your own server, but on the Java edition and Bedrock edition, you can connect to any server you want if you know the IP, so why would officially featured servers be a good thing, except for, oh god, it's monetization again. All the officially featured servers have to support Minecoins, and so we've got another tick which actually just corresponds to microtransactions. This is the worst sales pitch they could have made for the Bedrock version of the game. There are many good reasons to actually play it, and those reasons aren't achievements or trophies, because advancements exist on Java. Those reasons aren't things like the officially featured Minecraft servers, because regular Minecraft servers exist, and honestly, this list does a real disservice to the version of the game that Minecraft are trying to get you to buy using it. At least, I mean, it looks like they're trying to do that based on all the ticks they're giving Bedrock. So what did this list actually miss? If we were trying to make a more comprehensive one, I think we would have to mention the biggest reasons that people would play Java or Bedrock over the other edition, and so let's talk about what is missing, and we'll start with version switching. This is the ability to play older versions, and it's built into the launcher for Java. There is no support for this on Bedrock. You have to get a third-party launcher, and honestly, I use the third-party launcher, but it doesn't work as great as the Java equivalent because it's not made by the internal developers. Given the success of old-school RuneScape and retro remakes of basically every game out there, this is probably a top 10 feature for anyone who is getting back into Minecraft or anyone who is getting into Minecraft but wants to see it as a bit of a history project. This is something which is very important, and honestly, it's something that is especially great for a community that sometimes says, yeah, we really don't want to play this update. You have the choice of what update you play on Java, but not on Bedrock. This is huge as a difference, maybe even as huge as the idea that world options change. When you go to create a world on Bedrock, you have a much prettier looking world creation screen in my opinion, but you don't have as many features inside of it. You have just 2 world customization options now. It used to be 3, but they actually removed one. We now just have regular or flat, and flat is not super flat like on Java. It's literally 3 blocks of grass and nothing else. Surviving there would be tough. I can't imagine anyone trying to do that, but if you want on Java, you have the ability to pick your world type, and already you can see that there's regular, large biomes, and amplified. This is already more than Bedrock, but also there is the ability to customize your world via the super flat. These additional world options are probably not used by 90% of players, to be totally fair. I mean, to be fair though, 90% of players aren't using the Marketplace Pass or Realms Plus, but these features aren't going to be used by most people, but the ability to customize your world is just as powerful as that of DLC. And so why is it not included on the same level? Because we'd rather not talk about that one. Maybe we could argue that they've got plans to add these features to Minecraft Bedrock, but given that it's been a good 10 years and they haven't gone around to it, I think that at some point they need to acknowledge that Minecraft Java has more world options and honestly additional features in general. If you look at the Java edition of the game, you'll find that mobs like the piglins will trade with you and give you these spectral arrows. You can also craft them yourselves, a feature which does not exist on Bedrock, but the same is true for dual wielding. Seriously, you can hold double as many items on Java, whereas your offhand slot on Bedrock is reserved for maps or arrows, and you don't even have as many types of arrows to put in there because of the spectral arrows. There are a few features which are on Java but have not been added to Bedrock, and although there are a few cases in the opposite direction, it should be mentioned on any fair list that the Java edition has a different combat system, and it's one that actually does divide people. I think there are lots of people who, if they're getting back into Minecraft for the first time in over 10 years from before the combat update, might like to know that the Bedrock version of the game uses legacy combat and the Java version of the game uses post-combat update combat. It is kind of crazy that a combat update happened almost 10 years ago now, and we're still having these big debates about, well, actually, which version is the correct one? Is having a huge delay in there the right thing? I'm not going to weigh in on that today, but I will say a lot of people, if they've only been used to one combat system, might prefer to play a game that has it, and a lot of other people, let's say Gen Alpha people who have just watched Minecraft videos, probably watch people playing the Java edition, where you have to make sure there are cooldowns between attacks, and they might prefer to play the edition of the game that those creators they have watched have been playing, so that they can follow with the combat. Indeed, this is something that in general probably should be worth mentioning somewhere. If you were trying to make a truly unbiased list, you would have to say that Minecraft Bedrock has more players, so you have a larger cross-platform audience, but Minecraft Java has many more influencers or content creators creators or whatever you want to describe them as, but people who play the game for a living. And so if you watch those same content creators or influencers or whatever else, then you probably might want to jump on their edition, or at the very least know that that's the one they're playing. I think it is hard to mention this, but I think not mentioning it is a tiny bit misleading and leads to this huge divide within Minecraft, where at different times Minecraft tries to pretend that it's just one game and it works exactly the same, despite that not being true and there being all sorts of mechanics only available in one. But also at the same time, it means that lots of people are going to go to creators of one type or the other, try a design in their world and realize it doesn't work before being disheartened. This has happened to so many people and could be so easily avoided, but no, we're busy talking about monetization, so let's talk about that. I think that obviously, if I was going to make this list, I would remove these monetization tabs, but I would replace them with the things that people actually care about, the things that actually sway Java Edition players to play Bedrock, and the ones which make Bedrock players proud to have them, and that would be DLC collabs. Having DLC in general is not necessarily a bad thing. Having the marketplace in general isn't a bad thing. Lots of people like to support independent developers making cool things. Obviously, that's not the bulk of the marketplace, but you know, people like to do that in general. But the things that really excite people are these DLC collabs like Pac-Man, D&D, or the Sonic co-branded content. These are all incredibly fun. Also, one of the forms of monetization that Minecraft has that actually can be enjoyable are the emotes. This is something silly that I will never do, and I think it's crazy they added it to Bedrock without any betas or any notice, but there are emotes that you can do on the Bedrock version of the game, and they're not there on the Java edition. If they think they're so important that they're worth paying for, if they think they're so important that they had to add them to the game as exclusives, then I think they should include them on this list, because then the sort of player who goes, I'm not playing Minecraft with emotes, could know which version is for them. Similarly, I think that it should be referenced that the max render distance is much higher on the Bedrock edition. If you just play the default game without mods, the max render distance it will ever let you use is 32 chunks on the Java edition, while it's 96 for Bedrock. This sounds like it's 3 times higher, but because it's actually a big circle of render distance, this actually works out to be close to 9 times higher. There is so much more world that you can see on the Bedrock version, and this makes a big difference if you're looking for that immersive feel. If you haven't played Minecraft in a while, or if you picture Minecraft as being a game where you can barely see in front of your face, then when you see the Bedrock version, it feels like a huge feature that you want to care about, and I'm surprised that they don't reference right there. Speaking of this, I also think that they should remove the reference to officially featured Minecraft servers, and also reference that they are different on both platforms. Again, rather than a tick for featured Minecraft servers, actually mention the fact that most people, when they think of Minecraft servers, are thinking of Hypixel, the world's biggest Minecraft server. Maybe we should just reference that somewhere and then say, oh yeah, but if you wanted to play servers with friends on consoles, then you could do it there. Oh wait, we don't need to do that because there's already a cross-platform tag at the very top before anything else on this list. We could just assume that applies to all forms of multiplayers, from realms to servers to, you know, anyway, I think this should be something that comes up now though. Multiplayer is much easier on the Bedrock version. You can see that they sort of reference this by saying you could host your own server, or join player-hosted servers, or go on LAN or Wi-Fi for multiplayer, but they give ticks to both Bedrock and Java 3 separate times on what is effectively the same feature but different times. I think this could be simplified down and a couple of these options could go, but realistically, if we're going to branch it out this way, let's talk about the form of multiplayer that most people actually want to do, which is I'm loading up a Minecraft world, I would like to invite a friend. This is so much harder on the Java edition than the Bedrock one. It's one of the main features they could use to actually sell the game, but it's not found anywhere on this list. But of course, we're going to reference the DLCs on there a bunch of times. I think this is such a bizarre decision personally. I also think it's bizarre not to reference commands. This is something which, if you're a hardcore Minecraft user, admittedly only if you're there, the commands are much better on the Java edition. Slowly but surely, there is parity coming and more commands come to Bedrock, but there is much less that you can do with the same power of commands. And so if you are someone who wants to make things, weirdly enough, unless you're talking about making it and getting paid via the marketplace, you're probably better off making it on the Java edition. In fact, most of the map making teams that I speak to in my role as the head of IBX Toy Maps, most of these teams are making Java maps and then converting them to Bedrock because it's just that much more efficient. So the better map making version of the game right now, sadly, is the Java version. And also, by the way, editor mode is only available in Bedrock. This is available as a mod for Java, but it's something that is built into Bedrock by default. And I think I could go on endlessly at this point about all sorts of features that Minecraft puts lots of effort into making sure that it's available and then only makes for Bedrock, but then doesn't include on their own list, which makes me think that they're not trying to make a comprehensive list, which then makes me think that, okay, this isn't a comprehensive comprehensive list, it's just a list of the most important things, but then you look at it and you see things that no one would think is most important. Realms Plus or the Marketplace Pass are such a tiny consideration to such a tiny number of players that why would you even consider them in the first place? Even if you thought that the most important things for players were buying Realms and then having access to maps, which is what Realms Plus does, well, that's available as part of Realms on Java by default anyway. This list is not comprehensive, and it's also not very effective at being informative, and so what it's actually good for? Well, I think that most people would say it's biased, but beyond just saying, I think it's biased, here is the actual opinion of a Minecraft employee saying, yeah, the tables are a summation of work of hundreds of people over a decade. The fact that they exist and are pretty informative is actually kind of great. I'll take anything that breaks down complexity with minimal confusion. Beyond that, as a site/business, we do want people to buy some things, which is then a very good point, like, oh, this list is biased, but of course it's biased, it's Minecraft. And so here is the next point. Is Minecraft allowed to be biased? This is an interesting question, because on the empirical level, just the basic answer is yes, Minecraft can do whatever they want. No one can stop them from being biased on their own list. But then the question is, should the Minecraft.net website actually have such a biased take on the differences between the two versions? And so the reason that they would have a bias is obviously, like mentioned, they want you to buy things, and that's why so many of the ticks are for things that make Minecraft money. When you buy the Java edition, you only make Minecraft money once when you buy the game, and maybe if you get a Realm subscription, you give them a monthly source, but Minecraft Bedrock is much more of a live service, which is to say they won't just make money when you buy the game, they'll also make money if you continue to play it and you happen to buy maps from the marketplace. Minecraft have gotten themselves into this ultimate position of being a middleman where people will make Minecraft maps and sell them, and they can take a substantial cut of that, meaning they can make money without having to do the work, which is the dream for everyone. So that's the reason they have the bias here. Regardless of the difference between the base games, Bedrock is just a better monetized game, and so that's why they have a bias. But should they be showing it so flagrantly? Well, I mean, actually, this list is carefully crafted so that it isn't flagrantly lying, but should the list be more neutral in the way that my list that I made in this video actually is? I think the answer should be yes, and I think that from the perspective of me running my much smaller business here, but as a business, you basically get one chance to build trust of people. It takes a long time to earn trust, and it's very easy to destroy it. Being honest and being, neutral might be the wrong word, but at least being as agnostic about things as possible is very useful to help people understand that you are trying to help them, and it tries to help them understand when you're trying to sell things to them, why and what you're doing. If people are always cautious that the reason you're telling them something is because you have some financial gain, then it makes it very hard for them to trust you on anything else. This is the reason why I'm sure you've heard some schoolground rumor that YouTubers get paid for likes. It's like, well, they keep on telling it to us, and they're not exactly the most trustworthy individuals. They seem to have this very big interest in money, and so maybe there's something about that they're just not sharing. I think that if people are more honest with each other, the world works in a much better way, and I think that Minecraft.net could be entirely honest about the Bedrock version, and genuinely it would encourage more people to play, not fewer. If you were to share details about the combat system, or the render distance, or the things which people are actually shocked and pleasantly surprised by, the more people would be excited, and sure, you would have to concede some points and say Java is better in some ways, but if you do an honest comparison and it ends up saying the Java edition is better, but you want people to play Bedrock, how about actually making the Bedrock version better? It's an easily solved problem. You just have to add those same features like spectral arrows or dual wielding or the world options or the better commands to the Bedrock version of the game. It's not an impossible task, and it is one that I think would win people a lot of points. I think, though realistically, they don't need to make this list unbiased because most people will never actually see it. It is one that is on the Minecraft website, but how many people actually use that? I think the one saving grace of this list being so bad is the fact that very few people actually navigate to Minecraft.net when they're looking for information. Even when you're talking about Minecraft news, people will rarely use it to actually stay up to date, instead preferring social media, YouTube videos and the like will be a much more popular form, and that tells you something which I think they could seriously improve on. Maybe that means that Minecraft should function as basically an advertisement for the things they want you to purchase, or maybe that tells you that they should use this in a more open and honest way so that people trust them, because if Minecraft is going to be a 50-year game, then people are going to need to trust you for most of those 50 years. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. You can like this video, I won't get paid for it, but if you subscribe, then you're more likely to see a future video, something I would of course like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!